Hey guys, this is Anvesh, and today we are going to talk about a very specific kind of situation of Mars in a horoscope that makes a person, it kind of delays the marriage and the love life of that person. Well, it happens because of Mars, and Mars is, as you know, guys, it is a fire energy, it is a fighter planet. It gives passion, it gives courage, it gives attachment, it gives extreme willpower, and it acts like a fire energy wherever it sits. So, well, Mars is a planet which is, it is fire, it is courage, it is willpower, it is extreme energy, it gives passion. Whatever you have passion of, something, everything that you have passion about, that kind of energy is given by Mars. It makes you a passionate person, it makes you courageous. You are courageous, you are full of passion, you have willpower. So that's why it happens that Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn and it is debilitated in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is a watery sign, and Mars being a fire planet do not coexist with water at all. So in the sign where it is air element and the sign of where it is earth element, it becomes very powerful. So Mars is that kind of energy that gives a person willpower to do stuff, to go out, do stuff. That kind of energy is given by Mars. Well, Mars, if positioned in a very special situations, can make a person, it gives everything to the person, right? It gives them love, it gives them attachment, it gives them good career. So they have passion to do stuff, to go out, do stuff. That kind of energy a person has, it is all given by Mars. So what happens if the connection of Mars is with the seventh house? It kind of makes a person, a little bit what we call as being Manglik. What happens is, well, let me tell you guys from the chart. It is the seventh house. Now, the seventh house is the house of marriage. It is the house of your love. Fifth house is the house of love, but the seventh house is the house of marriage. It is the house of long-term relationships. So seventh house becomes very important because it is the house of your spouse. It is the house how you interact with the world. It is the house of how the world sees you. It is the house of business. It is the house of communication. It is the house of how people are going to treat you, right? So if the Mars energy is somehow is going in the seventh house, it makes a person being Manglik. So what happens is the marriage life is delayed, the love life is delayed. So the person has to he either doesn't get married at all, or there's some kind of problem with his married life, right? So if a person is not getting married at appropriate time, it is just because of being Manglik, because of being in this kind of dosha means a kind of a situation of a planet where it gives bad results. So what happens if your Mars is placed in the 12th house? Its 8th aspect is going to go in the 7th house. If it positioned in the 1st house, its 7th aspect is going to go in the 7th house. If it's positioned in the 4th house, its 4th aspect is going to go in the 7th house. If it is positioned in the 7th house itself, then again it is energy of Mars is going to go in the 7th house. If it is positioned in the 8th house, its energy is going to go in the 7th house. So if a person's Mars is sitting in the 12th house, the 1st house, 4th house, 7th house and 8th house, it makes a person Manglik. So what happens, guys, is the love life is delayed, the marriage is delayed. If you get married to a non-Manglik person, your life can be a complete hoax. You can get divorced, you can get separated, or your spouse can die. That can also happen. But that is a very extreme case of Manglik Dosha, but that doesn't happen all the time. So let me tell you about this, guys. What happens is a person whose Mars is positioned in all of these houses has to marry a person who has Mars position in all of these houses as well. So the Mars of both these people get collided with each other and then nullify its effect. So that is very important, that a person with Mars in these houses has to marry a person or has to get engaged with someone in a long-term relationship with a person whose Mars is also in these houses, or else there can be a lot of issues. There can be separation, there can be health issues, there can be fights in the marriage marriage, there can be a lot of issues, guys. So there are a lot of planets that help you, in this. Jupiter helps it, Venus helps it, but the effect of Mars is still very prominent in this house. So guys, you have to be careful about it. Get your horoscope checked by a professional astrologer, and they can tell you whether it is okay for you to get married or to some kind of to some person or not. So that is what I'm going to tell you, guys. Now let me tell you one thing. Well, the thing is, the marriage, it happens, it has to be happen with a Manglik person. A Manglik person can only marry a Manglik person. If it is married to a non-Manglik person, it becomes extremely bad for them. What happens? They get fights, they get in situations where they can get divorced, they can get separated. So there is a lot of problems regarding that, right? So there can be health issues. And if a Manglik person is married to a non-Manglik person, the person to whom a Manglik person has been married may have some health issues in the marriage, right? So that can be a lot of problem, guys. So it is very important that a Manglik person has to get married to a Manglik person to have a happy and fulfilling life. So this is what I'm going to tell you, guys. It is the effect of Mars, and it is very important to know whether you are Manglik or not. So for that, you need to get to an astrologer, you need to get your horoscope checked by a professional astrologer, and they can tell you whether you are Manglik or not. So this is Anvesh, and if you want your horoscope to be checked by me, I'm here on Fiverr. You can hit me up in my pinned comment or in the description. So I'm here for you guys. I hope you like this.